talking about guns, baby. I'm talking about you and me. Okay, this is part 2 of our gun name origin series that we're doing. We're focusing on auto rifles. I skipped over like an idiot last time. Unlike last time, I don't have any of the guns really. So gameplay wise, we're watching me do a raid terribly. For context, this was the longest clip I really had. It's of a night when I hosted a drunk raid. So we, did Vault of Glass and Crota and just, continue drinking through. So you're going to see some really bad gameplay. So I hope you are excited for that. The last video I wanted to do this kind of dry, cheesy History Channel type documentary with the fading in and out of pictures and talking plainly about guns and things like that. But I think my nervousness just shunned through a little more than the docusatire thing I was trying to do. So we're still trying to find our style and we'll get there eventually. So thank you for joining me on this ride. If you are here with me now on this ride, and then if you're watching this from the future, just know that hopefully I got better. Let me know in the comments below if I got better or if I didn't, because that would be super cool. So I know in the past, right now, if I got better in the future. Anyway, if you enjoy the sound of my voice and you want to see the look on my face, you can find me on Twitch. There's a link in the description below. But I stream over there every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, unless The Last of Us 2 has just come out. And then I'm going to take like a week or two off. Anyway, here's shadow price. Shadow price is a term used for a monetary value assigned to something where the cost is not normally priced for market. So like the benefit of using the gun shadow price is worth more than the actual cost to purchase shadow price. That's a shadow price. Shadow price. It's in the flavor text too. It asks so little and it offers so much. Nervousness. Now, do I think this gun was actually named after the god from Norse mythology, or is it most likely that they just followed the conventional Suros naming structure of the word Suros and then 3 capital letters and then numbers after it? It's most likely that one, but do you think that's going to stop me from talking about it? You bet not. So if you played the new God of War, you probably did not meet Tyr, because in that game he's like imprisoned or dead or something. I don't really know. Anyway, he had a grandmother with like 900 heads. His dad also had a giant cauldron that could brew tons of ale that him and Thor went on a quest to find so they can get drunk. He also lost Anne while he was trying to wrestle Fenrir. He's the God of War, honor, law, and then a bunch of other stuff. His story is weird in that he's the son of Odin, but also the son of the Jotun Heimir. But, I've had like 10 dads because of stepdads and foster care and stuff, so like I totally get it. In the Edda, he's referred to as the one-handed god, fosterer of the wolf, god of battles, son of Odin. But in the poem that's most about him, the one where he's trying to get lit with Thor, his papa is Heimir, so I guess that's his foster dad. So we're basically like brothers. Anyway, if you want to read more about Germanic mythology, there's a link in the description below. Quagmire is not just a character in Family Guy, and I already regret making that joke. It's usually used to refer to a complex, awkward situation that you find yourself in, like when you run out of toilet paper and you have to ask your roommates to go get you some, and then they have to go to the store to get it because you're out in your entire house. And you don't know if you should just sit and wait for them or jump in the shower. But then what will your other roommates think if you take a shower after they know you asked for toilet paper and you're washing all that nasty down the drain? Man, what a quagmire. Comes from the original meaning of a soft, muddy area that gives way underfoot that you have to tiptoe around. Much like the predicament you found yourself in needing toilet paper. Soggy conditions, low visibility, accuracy, perfect. The Sahara is a desert, if you didn't know. It's like a really, really big desert. The gun was not named after the Matthew McConaughey movie, which was also named after the desert. And it's also really, really, really pretty from space, which is the only reason that I'm talking about this gun, is so I can show the video that's playing right now. So for Rossnev, the first thing that came to my mind was Icelandic because of the band Sigur Rós. Sorry to all the people I'm offending by my pronunciation. I do love that band, and I also really enjoyed the movie Eurovision, but I could not find Nev in Icelandic. Judging from the flavor text, bright as the sea, old as the ocean, fierce as a storm, Nev comes from the Irish name meaning bright, and Ross in both Irish and Icelandic means rose. I'm not sure if Bungie meant to accent the O in Ross or if they meant Ross, because without the accented O, Ross is a prefix for like a wood or a headland, and I guess that makes sense. Bright headland is more logical because the flavor text talks about water, and a headland is a coastal landform with a sharp drop-off. When I think about Ireland, it's one of the main things that pops into my mind, waves crashing against the headland, but the gun could also be called Bright Rose. Let me know in the comments below which one you think it is. For me, I'm going to say they intended for it to be Bright Headland. A morass is just like a quagmire without the awkwardness. It also refers to muddy ground that you don't slip in so it doesn't give way underfoot. It's like a marsh, basically. So, like, if you didn't tell your roommates about the toilet paper thing and then you just chose to take a shower, and then now they're trying to figure out who didn't wipe and took a shower, and you're like, I don't know. And they're like, but you were the last one in there, dude. And you're like, it wasn't me. And then they were like, yes, it was. And you're like, it might have been so-and-so from yesterday. They slept over. And they're like, no way. And now you're caught in a morass of lies and deceit. Flooded fields, rustling reeds, sodden shelter, mark your targets. Wow. For the people comes from the last line in Abraham Lincoln's famous speech, the Gettysburg Address, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. You know, kind of like it's doing now. On a side note, I do find it interesting that within the address, Lincoln says that the world will little note what was said there, but will never forget what happened at the Battle of Gettysburg. Yet now it seems the Gettysburg Address is more famous than the actual battle. Anyway, the flavor text reads, I stand against the state of nature, which itself comes from the idea that without some form of governance over the people, each person's going to have their own moral rules that they'll follow, and as a result, people will not be able to reach agreements. This was first mentioned by the philosopher Mosey, then later by Thomas Hobbes and John Locke, amongst other people. Civil wars are caused by our state of nature, and this gun stands against it. This can also relate to Earth after the collapse. The state of nature was a law until the warlords, and then so on and so forth. With that whole story, not sure if you've heard it before or anything. It's from this small little game called Destiny. Anyway, it's a whole philosophical ideology that I would love to get into. If you want to read more about it, you can see the links in the description below because it is a fascinating subject. So the bronze Miyamoto is probably not named after the Nintendo guy, but I could be wrong because Bungie is probably full of Mario and Zelda fans and they just wanted to pay homage to the guy. But I'm going to go with the gun is named after Miyamoto Musashi, the famed ronin and swordsman of the Edo period. This guy is what you kids would call cracked. He won like 60 duels in his lifetime, and the first was when he was like 13, so he's, ninja. He developed his own style where he used two swords at the same time, both the short and the long. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of it, but it translated into two heavens as one. So you could probably thank him if you've ever dual wielded, swords in any video game. It's usually my preferred weapon style, so, I thank him. His last duel, he was said to have fashioned an ur into a wooden sword while he was getting rode to the duel. And then once the duel started, he just hit the dude on the head, and then he won the duel. So not only was he a warrior and a duelist, but he was also a strategist and an artist. He wrote the Book of Five Rings. He was also well remembered for his paintings of birds. To find out more, I highly recommend looking up the Samurai series of movies that were directed by Hiroshi Inagaki. You can find a link to the IMDb page in the description below. The Questing Beast is a reference to Arthurian legend, much like Galahad was in the last video. In the legend, the Questing Beast was a beast that King Pellinor and his family were destined to go on quests to slay. Its name actually came from the noise it made, also known as the barking beast. It made a sound that some people described as 30 couple hounds questing. I'm not really sure why they couldn't just say 60 hounds questing, but whatever. There are actually two accounts of what the questing beast looks like. First one says it has the head and neck of a snake, the body of a leopard, the haunches of a lion, and the feet of a stag. In this legend, it's said that the beast appeared to King Arthur after he, like laid with his sister. Don't worry though, they didn't know they were related. Like that makes it any better. Arthur saw the beast after waking up from a nightmare. His sister died in a fire or something. And then he gets approached by Pellinor, who tells him that it's his family's quest to slay the thing. And then later Merlin tells him that the beast was born from a human woman that made a deal with the devil for her brother's love. Like, romantically, I guess that fantasy is nothing new. But then the devil manipulated her into accusing her brother of the big R. And so their father had the brother torn apart by dogs as punishment. And then before the brother died, he was like, "Sister, you're going to give birth to a thing that sounds like these dogs that are eating me right now." And then the other account says it's pure white and smaller than a fox. It's very beautiful to look at. And then the sound that it makes is that of its offspring tearing it apart from the inside. So cool, I guess. You'll never catch it, but that's not the point. Much like an Arthurian legend, the point wasn't always to catch the beast, rather it was to let go of the search altogether and find peace. So what exactly is hard light? Other than a blending mode in Photoshop, hard light is another name for solid light, which is a theorized state of light. Basically, it's the idea that light photons can be turned into solid matter, kind of like a hologram, or the food you'd see in Star Trek created by a replicator. It's a 3D printer, but with light. Ionized polymer symbolistic attack platform. The system's lethality is dynamically robust across tactical spaces. That's a mouthful. Okay, so I think we all know what a truth serum is. In like a real sense, it's a name given to a number of any psychoactive drugs used in an effort to obtain information. I think the most well known is sodium pentothal. Unlike what you see in movies and on TV, these drugs are pretty unreliable, as subjects are pretty suggestive and have been known to fabricate memories. Use of this drug has not been accepted in the Western legal system as investigative tools. I was really hoping to find some significance with the number 760, but I couldn't find anything, unfortunately. The flavor text reads, "Lie to me, please." If you want to read more, Wikipedia has a ton of information. There will be a link in the description. Paleo contact refers to the idea that aliens visited Earth and made contact with humans in prehistoric time and influenced the development of the species. Paleo meaning ancient and contact meaning, well, aliens. We're the Hex Girls and we're gonna put a spell on you. Okay, so this gun I don't really need to talk about. I just really want to do that. A hexcaster is a witch because they cast hexes. Yeah, that's what this gun does, basically. And lastly, a veldt is an open, uncultivated grassland in southern Africa. So while the flavor text, beating sun, sparse cover, glare on the lens, can't afford to miss, makes me think the name might be nothing more than just a reference to the definition of a veldt. I can't miss an opportunity to talk about Ray Bradbury's short story, The Veldt. It's about a family that lives in a smart house that does everything for them. It has a VR room called the nursery that the kids love to spend time in. The nursery is stuck on the Veldt setting with lions in the distance eating the carcass of some unknown animal. And anyway, I suggest reading it yourself. Or, hey, maybe one day I'll read it on stream if we're lucky at twitch.tv/studioscoma. Seriously, I have mad respect for anyone who does voiceover stuff like this because this is not easy. Like, reading from a script and trying to sound natural is just, I can sit here and like talk and be fine. But once there's like a script and things I want to say, then it all kind of just like falls apart, doesn't come out right. So anyway, mad respect for people who like actually do this, full time and stuff. I'm trying, I'll get there maybe someday, maybe if we're lucky. Anyway, thanks for watching if you made it this far. Also, thanks for watching if you didn't make it this far, but you're not as important as the people that did make it this far. And if you like skipped the entire video just to listen to the outro, then I thank you the most. I'm not sure if I already made that joke in the last one. I might have, but oh well, I repeat jokes. Anyway, if you like the video, and then do the the thing with the thumb, and then if you want to see more, then do the thing with the other button that does the stuff. It should, I don't know, whatever. And then if you want to hang out, come over to my Twitch. There's a link in the description. Thank you so much.